massive fight would be Ilia versus Islam too. Well, the other thing is too is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you immediately have a super fight with him and Ilia. So.
And last one from me. Earlier today, Islam Makhachev did an interview and said he's not ruling out coming back down to 155. But if it was up to you, would you rather fight him at 170 to get that third title, or would you be willing to fight him at 55 because that's the division that people say he might be the best at?
It would be much better for me to fight him in 170, and I will beat him and get the third title. That will be the best scenario for me.
Ilia Topuria might be one of the greatest fighters of his generation, and he's making sure Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov know it. At a recent UFC press event, Topuria dismissed any mention of Makhachev with a sharp remark, "We don't give an F about him, so save that question." He went on to criticize both Islam and Khabib, claiming they act like they invented the sport and should just sit back, soak up the sun, and follow instructions. The comment was bold, direct, and undeniably
Who do you think should
loaded.
be next for Ilia?
Who should be next for Ilia? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch. Islam's big, man.
Topuria has taken things even further in interviews, boldly claiming he could submit Islam Makhachev with a dash choke and that he'd do it deliberately in front of Khabib. His mission isn't just to win a fight. He wants to humiliate Islam with Khabib watching. For Topuria, it's not about a single victory, it's about dismantling a legacy. He's made it clear that he sees Islam as the face of a system that has ducked real challenges and protected its crown with care. In his view, Islam and Khabib want to be recognized as the originators of this generation's grappling heavy dominance. But Topuria sees their reign as inflated, curated, and ultimately
Khabib recently said that he wanted you to face Charles before fighting Islam. He believes you beat Charles. What did you make of Khabib's comments, and why do you think he wanted you to fight Charles before fighting Islam?
Honestly, I don't care what he wants.
Question for Ilia Topuria. The former UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev was critical of you this week. He went on an interview and he...
Ilia Khabib recently stated that he wanted you to face Charles Oliveira before taking on Islam Makhachev, saying he believed you'd beat Charles. What did you make of Khabib's comments, and why do you think he wanted you to fight Charles? First, honestly, I don't care what he wants. As for Islam Makhachev, the former UFC lightweight champion criticized you in a recent interview, but you fired right back, calling him the biggest hypocrite you've ever seen. That accusation goes back to when Islam reportedly declined a fight with you, claiming you were too small to be taken seriously. Now that you've claimed UFC gold and entered the pound-for-pound conversation, you're pointing out the irony. It's Islam who now appears to be dodging the opportunity. In your eyes, if Islam truly believed you were beneath him, he would have taken the fight without hesitation. But the hesitation is clear, and to you, hesitation equals fear.
Islam, how do you see that fight going? If he goes to the ground, do you feel confident that you could out-grapple him, or would you try to keep standing in?
My mindset is always the same. I'm always looking to things that no one could. So if someone could submit him, I will be the first one to submit him.
Any specific submission?
Now I heard some love from some idiots.
Topuria's barbs haven't been limited to Islam Makhachev alone. He's also taken aim at Khabib Nurmagomedov, who, despite being retired, still plays a major role in shaping Islam's career and public image. To Topuria, that influence amounts to protection, with Khabib acting not as a gatekeeper to the division, but as a guardian of the myth that the Dagestani style is untouchable. He's gone so far as to claim that Khabib doesn't want Islam to face him because he knows that once the belt slips away, it's not coming back. That belief fuels Topuria's relentless messaging. He's not just chasing a title, he's targeting the figureheads of an empire. In one of his most unapologetic statements, he drew a harsh contrast. The difference between me and Islam is that I'm a man, and he's a coward. I speak and fight, he talks and hides, to drive the message home. He even threw in a few pointed words in Russian, calling Islam a little boy.
Is there any headway on Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena if that title fight's going to get booked soon?
I'll let you know when we get it done.
And just kind of piggybacking off that, obviously with Ilia's win, everyone's really excited to potentially see a future fight with him and Islam. I know that's the fight that people wanted. Ilia said earlier this week that if Islam loses that fight, he wouldn't give the opportunity for Islam to fight for his belt again. Is that something you'd bypass? Because that seems like such a big fight to me.
I mean, this is all talk.
Speculative.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine that's a fight you guys would want to make at some
Topuria
point.
didn't hold back when addressing Islam's manager Ali Abdelaziz either. He told him to be thankful the fight didn't happen earlier, claiming Islam's star would have been wiped out. According to Topuria, Islam's entire camp backed out of negotiations. The fight was on the table. The fans were eager, and then the Dagestani side vanished. From Topuria's perspective, it wasn't about timing, weight class, or strategic risk, it was about fear. And in his mind, fear is the one thing that disqualifies true greatness.
Turning to 155 and 55 is a real stretch. I think that Islam is going to be a lot like Ilia, which is, hey, this is great. Thank goodness I got here. Most unpleasant experience that Islam has had in the sport is just beating the scale of 155. I'm very confident in telling you guys, if Islam has success at 170 and becomes the champion, that whatever dreams you have, Islam versus Ilia haven't gotten closer. They got further apart. If you have a dream of seeing Islam versus Ilia, it's very unlikely.
Topuria has also called out what he sees as a clear double standard. He reminds the public that Islam once dismissed him due to size differences. Yet now Islam is considering a move up in weight and chasing superfights with bigger names. To Topuria, this isn't ambition, it's cowardice hiding behind ambition's mask. He argues that if Islam truly believed he was smaller and easy to beat, the fight would have already taken place. But now that Topuria holds both gold and power, he says, Islam's
Topuria is vacated, right? So that's the difference, right? So that's the difference now is Topuria is saying, like, I'm no longer at that division. Like, I'm now at lightweight.
With the confidence from knocking out Holloway and Volkanovski back to back, he thinks that, hey, I can knock these guys out. But the only fight he's had at 55, he's gotten dropped by Jai Herbert. And then we've seen him get, like, out-muscled and out-wrestled by a couple guys and 45. I think Islam's just going to be way too big for him.
Beyond the trash talk, Topuria has also broken down how he believes a fight with Islam would actually play out. While he acknowledges Islam's ground skills, he completely dismisses his striking, stating there's nothing special about Islam's stand-up game. According to Topuria, Islam has built his career on control and patience, not damage and danger, and that's where the key difference lies. Topuria doesn't fight to manage rounds, he fights to end them. He's confident that Islam wouldn't survive a clean shot on the feet or a scramble on the ground. And that confidence isn't just bravado. Topuria's background makes those threats credible. Though widely known for his striking, he consistently reminds fans that his foundation is in wrestling and grappling. He's repeatedly said his ground game is elite, simply overshadowed by how dominant his hands have been. That's important because Islam's aura is built around smothering top control and relentless submissions. But Topuria is making it clear, if Islam thinks he's dealing with a typical striker, he's in for a rude awakening.
Realistically, from all the conversations I had with the UFC and how the situation has been involved during the whole process, I don't think that that fight's going to happen. I will be surprised if I get a call and they're going to tell me, like, I want to fight against
Topuria's ambition extends far beyond Islam. Khabib remains a constant presence in his rhetoric. Despite being technically retired, he's openly accused Khabib of shielding his protege, manipulating matchups to preserve the Dagestani narrative. In Topuria's eyes, Khabib isn't just a coach or mentor, he's a brand fighting to maintain its grip on MMA's elite image. That, he says, is why Khabib refuses to acknowledge him as a legitimate threat, because doing so would mean cracking the illusion of invincibility that surrounds their legacy. In one pointed interview, Topuria addressed Khabib directly, urging to him to step aside and let Islam face real contenders instead of carefully selected opponents.
Well, that was the big talk. He moved up to welterweight. Do you believe he moved up to welterweight to avoid you, or because he had his own goal?
because he has his own goals. That's what I think.
Do you still think that's a fight that should happen? You guys are both forging legacies in different ways. Do you think that's a massive fight that should happen?
In another conversation, Topuria detailed how he plans to break Islam mentally. He envisioned dragging the fight into deep waters, forcing Islam to question everything he thought he knew about control. Topuria isn't chasing a quick knockout, he's seeking attrition. He wants Islam to reach the middle of round 3 and realize there's no safety net, no corner advice that can save him, and no escape from the relentless pressure of someone who won't fade or flinch. For Topuria, that's the true mark of being elite, not just skill, but unshakable composure. And he firmly believes Islam has never been forced to prove that against someone who can't be taken down in control.
Khabib doesn't go to the moon. You go to the moon. You need that guy. And I think Ilia Topuria and Islam might be that for each other. So while you may not like each other, you may need each other to go to the next level. So I appreciate Conor for helping Khabib achieve the life that he has today. Right after Conor McGregor, he was a global superstar.
It even brought religion in there. Islam, like the religion was inspired
by Khabib.
Khabib. Like,
because they needed him to go take care of this bad guy that was attacking everything everything that they stand for. If you know Khabib, he's really committed to his religion.
Topuria has also fired back at critics who argue he needs to defeat more top contenders before demanding soup dice. His response has been blunt. When you're the champion, when you've already taken out the man with the belt, there's no reason to climb back down the ladder to prove your worth. You plant your flag and make everyone else come to you. In Topuria's mind, he's already done more than enough to earn a legacy-defining fight. He's not interested in collecting names. Just to climb rankings, he wants to dismantle the myths that have built up Islam's
Ilia fighting Islam. He's only defended the belt once, and he's not that big of a star. So just jumps, he's not McGregor. You know what I mean? So just jump right up and fight.
The noise hasn't gone unnoticed. While Islam, known for being selective with his responses, chose not to engage directly, Khabib's team hasn't stayed silent. Behind the scenes, there's growing agitation. Topuria's relentless pressure and public callouts are clearly striking.
Khabib recently said that he wanted you to face Charles before fighting Islam. He believes you beat Charles. What did you make of Khabib's comments, and why do you think he wanted you to fight Charles before fighting Islam?
Honestly, I don't care what he wants.
Question for Ilia Topuria. The former UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev was critical of you this week. He went on an interview and
We don't give a fuck about him, so save that question.
That moment sent shockwaves through the MMA. World fighters, fans, and analysts all felt the intensity spike. For Ilia Topuria, it wasn't just showmanship, it was a declaration of intent. Undefeated and dangerous in both the featherweight and lightweight divisions, he's now pulling two of the UFC's biggest modern icons into his orbit. Khabib may be retired, but Topuria speaks as if the legend never left, while Islam, still reigning, is treated not as a threat, but as an obstacle, standing in the way of something
resume
bigger.
already better than Khabib? Better than Khabib?
That's a fun question. Okay, let's have a little fun with this, shall we? Here's Khabib's resume. Let's go last 5 fights. Fair?
Sure.
Khabib's last 5 fights. He submitted Justin Gaethje. He submitted Dustin Poirier. He submitted Conor McGregor. He UD'd Ali Quinta. He UD'd Edson Barbosa. Last 5 fights. Last
While fans had long dreamed of a showdown between El Matador Ilia Topuria and former champion Islam Makhachev, that matchup now feels increasingly out of reach. Still, Topuria isn't lacking challengers, and the post-fight buzz made that crystal clear. 2 names have quickly emerged as serious contenders. British fan favorite Paddy Pimblett, a longtime rival of Topuria's, and Armenia's Arman Tsarukyan, currently ranked 3rd in the lightweight division behind Topuria.
He looked like a heavyweight in there. What was going through your mind there? What was going through your mind when Paddy Pimblett stepped in the octagon?
He's fat. He's not someone that looks big because he has that muscle. It's because he's very undisciplined.
Did you think it might get physical?
Tsarukyan wasted no time after Topuria's victory, firing off a pointed message on social media. It was never supposed to be Charles. I can finish Ilia, as simple as that, and he knows it too. That's why he's avoiding the real #1 contender. He followed up with a brutal statement: he cannot jump ahead of me. In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Tsarukyan doubled down, claiming Paddy Pimblett is being used for entertainment while real contenders like himself are being ignored. He made it clear he's not just calling out Ilia, he's expecting that fight to be next.
He gotta beat like someone like me, you know, who can wrestle. He just had the easy fights on his career, you know. He beat legit fighters, but not on their time. If he met Volkanovski 4 years ago, Volkanovski just...
Dana White has echoed some of those sentiments, at least confirming that Paddy Pimblett won't be next, but beyond that, the future remains uncertain. In the meantime, Tsarukyan has continued to ramp up the pressure, mocking Topuria's resume with a sharp jab. Fun fact of the day: Ilia Topuria never fought anyone in their prime. It was a harsh but calculated move, meant to sow doubt and make fans question whether Topuria's rise was forged through the same fire as other elite contenders. Topuria didn't stay silent. During a press conference in Las Vegas, he dismissed Arman's criticisms as weak attempts to stay relevant. He's basically saying I shouldn't fight him because he's not in his prime. Topuria scoffed, adding that Tsarukyan hasn't shown anything impressive since his last outing. He thinks talking will get him somewhere, but he's on ice for a reason. Then came the knockout line. Topuria reminded the public that Arman previously withdrew from a title opportunity. Imagine getting the chance to fight for a world championship and pulling out because of back pain. He said, I can't relate. I would have stepped into the cage with Volk or Holloway with one arm.
I think they need, when they go inside the octagon, in the first contact, they want to feel that they dominate you, and they start to build a confidence since that. But they feel in the first contact, in the first round, but that they can control you, that it's very competitive. Tsarukyan
came back swinging on X, posting another sharp jab. Another fun fact: Ilia regularly misses weight, so spare us the fairy tales about fighting with one arm. You pulled out of fighting Charles Jourdain and Manon. This war of words has clearly gone beyond rankings. It's turned into a power play between two rising stars battling to define the next era of lightweight history. Tsarukyan is asserting that Topuria's dominance is smoke and mirrors, a carefully crafted image. Meanwhile, Topuria is declaring that his name already belongs among the elite, and whether Tsarukyan likes it or not, he's being dragged along for the ride.
He believes you beat Charles. What did you make of Khabib's comments, and why do you think he wanted you to fight Charles before fighting Islam?
Honestly, I don't care what he wants.
Among MMA professionals, the divide is real, but so is the respect. Demetrius Johnson, one of the most respected minds in the sport, had high praise for Ilia Topuria during an episode of The Mighty Guru Show, calling him a unicorn. In Johnson's view, Topuria is a rare breed Samor who may fight just a few more times before walking away undefeated, much like Khabib. You're going to see him 3 or 4 more times, maybe 5 max, and he's going to disappear. Johnson said he sees Topuria as a potential Khabib-like figure, someone who could walk away from the sport on his own terms, saying, "I'm done, don't need to prove anything. I won the belt at 145, 155, and maybe even at 170. So guys, please subscribe to my channel for more updates."